Hello, this is our topic lesson for this week. We are going to have a look at Norse beliefs. So we're going to use our prior knowledge, what we already know, secondary sources, and empathy. So the Norse religion provides a clue as to why Vikings valued bravery and a good death in battle. Thinking about what we've been looking at, can you think of any reasons why having a good death in battle might have been important to Vikings? Let's have a think. How brave you had been in death decided where you went to in the afterlife. Talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but first, the Norsemen believed that the world was actually a set of 9 worlds. They were called Midgard, the place where humans lived, Asgard, the home of the Aesir gods and goddesses, Vanaheim, the home of the Vanir gods and goddesses, Jotunheim, the home of the giants, Niflheim, the world of ice, Muspelheim, the world of fire, Alfheim, the home of the elves, Svartalfheim, the home of the dwarves, and Helheim, the home of the goddess Hel and the kingdom of the dead. So those were the 9 worlds in Norse mythology. So, using what you already know, and you can have a look on the internet if you're not so sure, let's see if we can answer these questions. So pause the video if you like, and we'll answer the questions. Okay, let's have a look at some answers. So the Vikings believed there was more than one world. Well, we've just looked at a whole load of that. So that is true. The Vikings believed that humans lived in a world called Asgard. I thought the gods lived in Asgard. So that is false. The Vikings believed that humans could live in different worlds. Well, it's said that Midgard was the only world where humans lived, so that must be false. The father of the gods was Thor. Was it? The father of the gods was Odin. The Vikings believed in a bridge called Bifrost that linked Asgard and Midgard. Yes, that's true. We'll talk about that in a second. So those are the answers you should have. True, false, 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 true. So how are rainbows tied in with Norse beliefs about the 9 worlds? We've just mentioned it. The Norsemen believed that a rainbow bridge called Bifrost joined Midgard and Asgard. And I've talked already, but if you've seen any of the Thor movies and the Marvel movies, Bifrost is in those, and the people travel using that rainbow bridge from Asgard down to Earth and to various other places as well. So in your books, complete these statements. Use your knowledge and the internet to complete them. When you've done that, let's move on to the next one. So let's have a look at these answers. Thor was the god of, anybody? Thunder. Thor was the god of thunder. Odin's wife, well, she had a few names. She was called Frigg or Freya or Freya. Freya, quite a lot of names that she had. Tyr was the god of war, and I guess Odin ruled all the gods, ruled in Asgard. A few different answers you could have for that one. The Norsemen told many stories about their gods. These stories often involved mythical creatures like giants and elves, and we still tell stories about Norse gods today. Have you heard any stories about Norse gods, and why do you think we still tell them? Well, as I just said, the most obvious place we see stories about Norse gods is in the Marvel movies and the Marvel comics. And they changed a few things about them. A lot of those are based on those original Norse myths. But we hear them in lots of other places as well. And like we talked about with Beowulf, a lot of these ideas from these myths were adapted into sort of fantasy books like The Lord of the Rings and things like that. They take ideas from Norse mythology and change them and include them in those as well. So, with the choice of either Valhalla or Helheim before them, it is easy to see why Viking warriors appeared to have no fear of death in battle. It was preferable to die honourably rather than of old age and sickness, as the afterlife was so much better. The afterlife? Time to party! Vikings believed that if they died fighting bravely, they would be taken from the battlefield to Valhalla, a hall in Asgard where Odin ruled. These Vikings would become heroes in the afterlife. Each day they feasted and drank in Valhalla, where the mead never ran out. Norsemen that didn't die bravely in battle went to Helheim when they died. In one part of Helheim, evil and dishonest people were punished. However, there's also areas of Helheim for good people who weren't warriors. So it wasn't all bad down there. There just wasn't everlasting mead. So, I want you to imagine that you're a Viking and you want to go to Valhalla. Write me a paragraph explaining why you want to go to Valhalla. It will start with, as a Viking, I want to go to Valhalla because. So tell me why you want to go.